Hi, welcome back to the Man Shed, and this is a follow-on episode talking about copyright. Last episode was talking about copyright and the photographer, and this week I'm going to be talking about copyright and the model. Now, lots of us as photographers, we shoot models, whether it's as part of a TFP, that's a time for print, a time for CD, TFCD, so we may be shooting a model for free, in other words, or we may be paying a model to shoot them. There's also some situations where the model is paying us to shoot them. So let's be clear, in all of those cases, the photographer owns the copyright. That's the way copyright law works, is I press the shutter, I own it. Now for models, I don't care. The law doesn't care. You may have decided on the pose, decided on the clothes, styled the hair, done the makeup, even decided on the location, everything. The law says the photographer owns the copyright. Essentially, you have no rights to use those photographs other than what he grants you. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So typically what happens in these circumstances, and I'll stick on the TF side, the time for side, where we're talking about both the photographer and the model giving their time for free as a collaborative effort. What you want to do is you want a simple TF release. It doesn't need to say very much, it doesn't have to be full of legal jargon. And basically all it's going to say is, we recognize that the photographer owns the copyright to the image, but the photographer grants the model to use these images in certain circumstances. Now in my case, it says the model can use them for any personal promotion, and the photographer can use them for any personal promotion. So whether that's a website, printed portfolio or whatever. However, they may not be used for publication without prior permission of both parties. So, although I have the legal right as the photographer to go and have these pictures published, I will not do so without permission from the model. And vice versa. The model who actually has no right to publish those photos does need to check with the photographer first. If there's any money to be made from the resale, whether that's through publication or whatever, of photographs, then there is a joint agreement between the models and myself. Now, all of that is optional. Don't forget, that's not what the law says. These are just things that I will always agree with the model. And basically it's about a moral obligation. Really what it comes down to is we're doing these shoots so that we can put together portfolio work to increase our business, or we're just doing them for fun. Neither of us are really expecting to sell these photographs, or indeed to have them published normally. But if we do, then it should be fair, in my opinion. And as a photographer, you have a moral right. You know, if the model has worked for you for free, you really should pay her anything that you may make on a sale. Similarly, if the model finds an opportunity to sell the pictures, then the photographer ought to have some share of the cut. Again, that's nothing to do with the law. The photographer owns them, just something you should agree amongst yourselves. There's a couple of sticky issues. First of all, you may choose to agree where photos may not be used. For example, you might say may not be used on porn sites, may not be used to advertise the fur trade, you know, things where you've got moral issues or concerns. You may want to say that the model has rights to manipulate the photographs. That's unusual, and I would understand a photographer saying, no, I wouldn't be happy with that. Models, I've seen models do this, is they pass photos on to their mates to Photoshop. That's not legal. Okay, you need the photographer's permission before that happens. So that's sort of, you know, law says photographer owns it or he's in charge. The TF release is a document you sign between the two of you that grants additional rights to the model. Now, crucially for you as the model, you should be looking for that TF release. There's one other thing you might want to add to it, which has nothing to do with copyright, but just that the photographer agrees to provide so many images within a certain period of time. Okay, that's a contractual document. It's entirely separate from copyright law. I just want to talk about, sort of related to this, is the model release, which is kind of a whole different cup of tea, but very strongly related to it. So first of all, basically a model release is where the sitter says, I grant the photographer rights to resell this image, essentially. Again, it has no sort of valid place in terms of copyright law, but in terms of publication, and in particular advertising and stock photography, it is significant, because many buyers of that kind of photography will be looking for a model release just as a cover their arse kind of thing, really. So again, although it's not a copyright requirement, it's more often a purchaser's requirement that there is a model release. Okay, so that's it on copyright. If you've got any stories about copyright or any feedback on this topic, love to hear about it. You can either email me direct or post some comments on the blog or with the video here. So don't forget, all the information is on filmphotoacademy.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Okay, cheers.